you might actually be able to live forever. It's genuinely a scientific possibility at this point. Not a big one, but it's also not zero. It's the year 2025, and you're somewhere in the ballpark of 30 years old. Old enough to feel time breathing down your neck, but young enough to still dream about outrunning it. Or if you're me, being a vampire. In every human culture's history, that dream has been a fantasy. The realm of myths, fairy tales, and desperate elixirs, birthing stories of beings like the Fae that can live forever, if not hundreds and hundreds of years. Or some romantic gothic creatures that are immortal, but for a desperate and horrible price. But pretty recently, I don't know if you've heard, something has shifted. The frontier of medicine no longer crawls forward, it sprints. Why it does so is that we've given it a new mind, artificial intelligence. So with one hand on the lab bench and one hand on myth, we explore how we are now breathing between two clocks. The one that counts birthdays and the one that counts damage. The first is indifferent. The second is becoming negotiable. Let's talk about how if you are watching this in the year 2025, are less than 66 years old and generally in good health, you could actually live forever. Or, as I like to say, live forever. Allow me to explain. I'm Cora Poe, and this is SlumberMyth, a place for insomnia fuel. In laboratories all around the world, scientists are using new R&D, accelerated by the help of AI, to unravel the secrets of aging itself. Aging isn't a single switch that flips. It's a slow, cascading collapse of many systems. DNA damage, zombie-like cells that refuse to die, faltering mitochondria, runaway inflammation, just to name a few. Each piece adds up until the body yields, meaning you die. But for the first time in history, we are actually finding ways to reverse those processes. And AI is just accelerating that search. So, what the fuck does LEV mean? Well, with the Lev Forever thing, I'm just being cheeky with a play on words. Longevity Escape Velocity, LEV, isn't just science speak. It's a finish line that keeps moving down the track as you run. The finish line being death, the race being life. And you're fast enough, strong enough, to just keep running. In plain terms, longevity escape velocity is the moment when medicine advances quickly enough to extend your life faster than time can take it away. Think of it like this. While the calendar may move forward, your health, your strength, your body's ability to mend itself all keeps going. And every year you gain more than you lose. For me, Cora, being in my early 30s, it's like being told that the staircase of life in front of me isn't darkness at the top. That's death or heaven or purgatory or a DMT trip that turns into non-existence. It's a door that opens to another staircase, forever and ever. And the doors just keep opening. For this to happen, you don't need to be immortal now. That comes later. You just need to stay healthy and live long enough for the next breakthrough, and then the next one. And if you are able to manage that, each discovery stacks on top of the other. And the combination of years is cumulative, possibly exponential. Now, LEV is not a promise of forever. This is biological under the scope of medicine. So, if you get hit by a bus, I'm sure that in the near future, medical science will be a lot more likely to save you. But if your skull is crushed, LEV is not going to help you. It's not a promise of immortality. It's a promise of longevity, long-term healthiness, maintenance of some semblance of youth. LEV is a promise of enough. Just enough time to see everything you were always meant to see, to write all the stories you've ever wanted to write, to watch every D&D campaign you've ever had an idea for come to fruition. It's just a sweet little trick of fate. You don't just outpace the years, you turn them into your allies. For my space nerds out there, it's the longevity equivalent of Moore's Law, loosely speaking. Moore's Law, in the current evolution of the term, is the idea that current spacecraft we are working right now, hoping to launch soonish, will be surpassed by future spacecraft due to the exponential trajectory of technological advancement. If you're an engineering nerd, you probably know the origin of this term began as an observation that predicts that the number of transistors on a microchip doubles approximately every 2 years, leading to increased computing at a lower and lower cost over time. And this analogy actually perfectly ties into the AI aspect of this conversation. So what the fuck does all of that even mean? It means that many modern-day spacecraft have already zoomed past Sputnik. It means that if we're patient and work hard to continue pushing the boundaries of space exploration technologies, an Earth shuttle piloted by humans sent out in 2025 may very well end up being waved at by a bioship of their great-great-great-great-great-grandchildren as their progeny zooms past them, rendering the 2025 shuttle and their voyage in space alone unnecessary to a certain extent. I'm sure there would be tons of discoveries along the way, but you get what I'm saying. Point is, if you can buy enough time to wait, you can be around for the better, more effective science. So Moore's Law, in my opinion, can perfectly be applied to LEV, because if you can maintain your health long enough, those first breakthroughs will buy you enough time to live long enough, healthy enough, to see the day we succeed in curing death altogether in terms of dying of old age and cancers and natural, things that happen within the body. Again, I still can't save you if your head gets crushed by a bus. And this science is already happening. It's already started and it's already made progress. This is real. Right now, we can clear senescent cells from the body of a mouse. Also, I apologize if I pronounced that incorrectly, senescent. I've only ever read the word. Point is, when we do that, something remarkable happens. The tissues within those super cute, tiny old mice, their tissues recover, their heartbeat becomes stronger, their muscles rebuild, and their brains sharpen or resharpen. Even their fur had been shown to grow back with more luster. What once looked like irreversible, inevitable decline was suddenly bent backwards for these mices. Another thing we've already done is figure out how to reprogram cells, eukaryotic cells, animal cells, coaxing them into younger states with Yamanaka factors. This is the term for genes that rewind the biological clock. Early studies have already suggested that this can restore vision, heal injuries, and roll back the wear of age. And with CRISPR, which I do have my own very strong feelings about, Gattaca, we do, because of CRISPR, have the ability to begin repairing the blueprint of life itself, just cutting out mutations that drive aging and cause disease. So, I don't want to get into a whole thing about designer babies, but if we can all have access to something like that, wow, what a world. And AI makes all of this faster. DeepMind's AlphaFold has predicted the structures of nearly every known protein, a task that would have taken human scientists literal centuries. Other AI models now design entirely new molecules, testing them safely and virtually before even considering touching a petri dish. What once took years of trial and error now sometimes only takes days, and every leap forward makes the next one faster. So what does this timeline look like? Right now, summer of 2025, I am 31 years old. It is approximated that the next decade, give or take, will bring the arrival of early longevity drugs, senolytics, NAD boosters, and therapies that make cells more resilient. These won't make you immortal, not yet, but they may buy you literal healthier decades. And within about 20 years, it is wholly possible for partial cellular reprogramming to become commonplace. Imagine completely resetting the biological clock on your organs, bones, muscles, skin, even your brain. Not stopping time, just winding it back. But not like Benjamin Button style either. And if AI continues to accelerate this process at the continued exponential rate it already has shown, those therapies might not even be rare luxuries for the super rich. They might become routine for those in our apocalyptic post-capitalist society who can afford any kind of healthcare, at least. If you have the smallest possible amount of privilege, which not many do, then you might be able to include this in your regular checkups. Oh, I'm making myself depressed. Let's move forward. Oh, this will definitely lift my mood, and I bet you'll love it too, and if you don't, you are not invited to my channel anymore. The proof of concept is in animals already, closest to market. Like, this is about to be available. So clearly I'm way too excited about this. As an animal lover, I am happy to announce to some other humans that have their priorities in order, over at the Biotech lab called Loyal, reached a key FDA milestone showing a, quote, reasonable expectation of effectiveness, unquote, for dog longevity. It's a pill, a dog longevity pill. They're targeting late 2025 to 2027 for conditional approvals, depending on the product. Now, obviously, this doesn't translate directly to humans. This isn't like gabapentin or trazodone or Benadryl. If you take this dog pill, it will not make you live longer. But it does signal that regulators are already open to aging-targeted indications, at least in the veterinary sense. And I mean, it's already a mammalian vertebrate, so, you know, we're already onto something pretty cool here. Honestly, fuck the humans living forever thing. Like, can you imagine having your dog live for 50 years? 80 years? And I mean, once we start applying this stuff to ourselves and really perfecting it, it's going to become available for all kinds of other animals as well. What about reproduction? And then I thought, oh, what about human reproduction? When we start living longer, I mean, the first wave of this, the first things that are gonna help, even if they're only extending our lives by decades, what is that gonna look like for our population? Because while birth rates are on the decline, if we all start living longer, those numbers aren't going to mean anything anymore, especially if the research we do and how successful we are ends up so that women are capable of reproducing for 100 years. You could be a new mother and have great-great-great-grandchildren at the same time. Like, we are still stuck on Earth. We can't, like, go anywhere else yet. And, like, we're already poisoning shit pretty bad around here. So there is a shadow to this dream. If death is no longer inevitable, then the weight of life changes itself in essence. Will governments regulate who is allowed to continue living or who is allowed to give life? Will space exploration technology be developed in tandem with longevity so that we are able to leave Earth and ease its burden? Longevity, human longevity, is not just a medical question. It's a social one, an existential one. One that readily reminds me of all the feelings I have when I read that folklore about immortal beings. The profound emptiness and uncertainty of a life that lasts forever. Personally, I am a person with a uterus of reproductive age. And naturally, whether I want to or not, The chemicals in my body make me question having children. But if the feasible reality where aging becomes a treatable condition comes to fruition, where human decay is slowed, paused, and even partly reversed, will you even be allowed to have children? It might just be my sci-fi writer brain, a dystopian society brain telling me it's a trade-off. Either you get to have kids or you get to live forever. In every current day jurisdiction, reproduction obviously isn't gated by a legal maximum age. And with egg freezing, IVF, and other scientific miracles, even the biological age poses far less risks than it did in the past. With that in mind, generally speaking, human reproduction is governed by health and local family law, aka if the country or state you live in forces you to be pregnant or not when you become pregnant. So it's super unlikely that curing or softening aging wouldn't automatically revoke reproductive rights. I mean, religion still exists. People would freak the fuck out. And obviously they're already going to over this anyway, but whatever. Fucking during the Crusades, they were looking for the fountain of youth anyway. So what, just because Jesus and the Pope didn't tell you to do it, it's not good? Well, I guess, yeah, that is kind of the whole thing, huh? Anyway, we're talking about science right now. Any limits would be political choices, not scientific inevitabilities. Of course, there's always possibilities for side effects of things we discover, but those can't be known yet. And history says democracies argue, regulate at the margins, and in one form or another, keep the core right to have a family. You can't take that instinct out of a human, not completely. Now, I clearly can't promise what legislation will be drafted tomorrow, but nothing in history or the current science we have going is gonna say no to kids. I think it's just my own problem that I'm projecting, where I feel like it's not ethical for me to live for hundreds of years and procreate, because I'm a logical being that is aware that the earth is a finite space with finite resources. Calculate your carbon footprint, people, for the love of God. Anyway, those philosophical, ethical questions are going to pop up a lot as we move forward with the science. And if you are interested in this kind of science, I think it's really important to keep tabs on yourself and how you feel about those things. You may just end up having to advocate for something later. Still, if you begin treatments as they emerge, slowing down your clock toward death by even a little bit, by a fraction, then yeah, you could probably hold the line long enough, meaning long enough to greet the next generation of therapies, long enough to see 60 that feels like 40, and then long enough to see an 80 that feels like 30, and certainly long enough to step into a future where human lifespan stretches not by years, but centuries. I am talking real life, Fae, and Elvish lifespans, people. Elven? User's choice. So genuinely, for the first time in history, immortality is no longer a myth. It is a staircase, and we are already moving our feet up to the first step. I'm so pumped about this topic. I'm literally overheating from being so overstimulated about it. Moving on. All right, now we're going to talk about the research and development already underway that has the highest likelihood of success. So again, I'm not saying this is going to happen. I'm not saying you are going to be immortal or you are going to live to be 700 years old. I'm not saying that. I'm saying it's not impossible. And seriously, just the possibility not being zero is just fucking amazing. So I am saying it is very much a possibility in the near future, a future so near that you might be young enough right now to stay young forever. Aging is made of many factors, so we're not hunting for a single holy grail. We're engineering a toolkit that can be effective in fighting many things. The senescent cell clearance, the senolytics I mentioned earlier, moved from clever mouse stories 2 small human experiments. In idiopathic fibrosis, an open-label pilot with desitinib plus quercetin hinted at improved physical function. Later, a first randomized, placebo-controlled trial showed feasibility signals, not a cure, but a genuine path to larger studies. Progress. And that is what progress looks like in biomedicine like this. More questions queued behind each answer. The more we know, the less we know. Next is partial cellular reprogramming, the Yamanaka factor trick that I referenced earlier. This can roll back some epigenetic wear if you don't overdo it. In progeroid mice, cyclic pulses of OSKM eased hallmarks of aging and extended their lives. And for those unfamiliar with rodents, or at least mice and rats, they're perfect for these kinds of trials because we have many functional similarities, biologically speaking, and they have a lifespan of approximately 1 to 2.5 years. So we are able to rather quickly measure if their lifespan has increased or not. In the eye, OSK alone restored vision and youthful methylation patterns after injury in old mice. So this isn't immortality yet, but it is successful targeted repair that works in specific tissues, carefully controlled dosing. In vertebrate mammals, it proves a principle we didn't even have 10 years ago. Age state is, in part, writable and rewritable. Mice now, people later. I'd also like to say that I am anti-animal cruelty, and I really hate the idea of all the abuse that animals go through for the sake of our bullshit. Personally, I love ratties. I've had rats since I was a little girl, and I kind of justify it in my heart because rats are as amazing and lovable and smart, so smart, if not sometimes smarter than dogs, if you can believe that. It's fucking true, look it up. And they live 2 years, which is just long enough to totally fall in love with and develop a bond with an animal. And then it's over. And it's devastating every time. But they're such wonderful creatures that you forget how much it hurts to lose them and you get them again. So, yes, we're experimenting on them for this thing that's supposed to benefit us. But in order for it to benefit us, it has to work on them first. Meaning once the things we're working on do work on us, that means they already work on rats. So we're already, by the time I'm able to live forever, I can also have a rat that will live forever with me. And that's fucking amazing. Okay, rant over. I'm sorry. I swear to God, if I didn't have dyscalculia so severely, I would have a PhD in some form of zoology by now. Immune function, your ability to fight off illnesses, is a huge longevity lever. Again, like with the longevity dog pill with Loyal, translation to humans is not settled yet. Obviously, you would probably all know about it by now if it was. I think it's incredibly important that we exhibit self-control in the face of discovery in terms of AI and how it is capable of helping us. It mapped well over 200 million structures. And suddenly, targets of proteins we need to remove are less faceless. They're identifiable. Docking and design cycles shrink, and the wet lab starts further downfield. So again, this isn't a cure that AI has made for us. It does compress time though. And that time is only going to continue to be compressed until all these tiny little fix-its, the things that add up and make your health decline over time, will have little fix-its to all of those to stack upon one another. Like your vaccines or eating right. They'll just be another part of life that you try your best to keep up on. And if you're able to, you'll get to make it to the wave where we cure death altogether. All right, so those were some examples of the things that are already showing promise that have cured certain ailments or improved certain issues in other mammals. The dogs one is just fucking amazing, right? I know, you're welcome. 2030 to 2040 time span, early, highly controlled human trials of partial reprogramming will likely begin. Might begin, but only for specific diseases at first, like eye, nerve, and muscle-related diseases. And with safety, hopefully, as the main focus. Broad whole body reprogramming is going to be much further off, meaning no cancer or teratoma risk, and using extremely precise dosing, which AI will help. First, specific organ-targeted rejuvenation gene therapies might reach specialized clinics for high-risk people. Though the public accessibility would start, it would not really be that accessible because gene therapy is still very expensive. So while it will be available, most of us probably won't be able to afford it yet. But like with everything else, it will get cheaper as vectors and delivery improves. Also, between 2040 and 2055, regulatory frameworks may start to recognize aging hallmarks as composite endpoints, meaning it will enable multi-indicator approvals, or a big policy shift along the lines of government-related shit, legislation concerning insurance, and insurance. So hopefully by the end of the 2040s, those reprogramming trials, if done carefully and with the help of AI, the wins will look like organ by organ maintenance rather than a single elixir. It's not going to be this one catch-all thing, or that's at least extremely unlikely. But we will be able to identify and replicate what is needed for each organ system to reverse or improve quality of life. And all the while, AI keeps cutting cycle target times for target, candidate, trial design over and over and over again, speeding up every single process along the way. And that's, just going off of what we only can currently comprehend about how AI helps us. Who knows how insane it's going to be like 2 years from now, right? There's no way to know. Moving on, we go into the next 30 years, so 2055 and later. A genuine, multifaceted cure to aging. Robust, safe, body-wide rejuvenation that halts most biological aging, and obviously this remains speculative. The point is that it's possible as early as 2055. This will likely look like stacked therapies, something I mentioned earlier. Damage repair plus gene circuits plus immune editing plus periodic reprogramming. All the things that we've already covered that we're already having success in. And this is not including things that we are working on but have not yet had success with because they've only started. So there could be so many more things to add to the stack of anti-aging science. There will be very clear and careful cancer control. Obviously, no credible source can give you an actual date of when this is going to happen. I'm merely taking a lot of hope and a foolish attempt at not thinking the world's about to end. And this is what my findings have led me to. If I am being as these findings are not conservative. This is if everything goes right as quickly as possible, and give or take factoring in how much AI is going to change everything in the next few years. This is what I'm thinking. So long-term, post-2040s, multi-intervention rejuvenation stacking of all those different tiny cures that we found, mix periodic senescent cell clearance, epigenetic reset pulses, immune recalibration, and targeted gene repairs that could plausibly add decades of healthy life. And what's important about this is when we talk about longevity, the definition of it in this case includes a healthy, able body, or at least in general terms, in slightly ableist terms, if I'm going to be real, a body that you would want to live a long time in. So possibly centuries this could add to your life. And if you are able to add centuries to your life, you're probably going to be alive when we figure out how to stop death altogether. Now again, there's no way to know how long that will take, but if you're able to add literally 300 years to your life, even just 100 years to your life, even just 50 years to your life from now, you know, if we don't blow the whole world up or like really, really fuck everything up in the next 10 years or less, there's seriously no telling how quickly our discoveries can be made as we work in tandem with our AI friends. The point is, none of this information is 100%. These are things I've read that are hopeful but scientifically accurate. I have listed every single URL to all of the resources I've used where I got all of my images if you want. So please, if you are interested in this, or if I missed something, please call me out on it. I'd love to hear your opinions about it. I know it's a very multifaceted topic. Humans also have this strange relationship with the idea of immortality, where something inside us tells us it's wrong. Why is that? Why does it have to be wrong? Something to think about. In fiction that includes immortality, there's always a huge caveat of some kind, or some kind of trade-off that to the audience of that tale makes it seem like it's not worth it. Like you would rather be dead than have to trade whatever that is in order to live, like being a vampire, blah, 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 all those things. Watching everyone you love die because you live forever. And obviously in these tales, that's all pretty fucked up and makes sense, totally logical. But as we approach a reality where if we don't wipe ourselves off in the next 50 years, we might actually achieve something close to immortality, it kind of becomes apparent to me that these narratives are a projection that is supposed to soften the blow of the inevitability of death. If we tell tales that make us feel like death has to happen, it's something that we must endure or prepare for because it is inevitable. And these tales make the possibility of living forever, or at least a very, very long time, a horror. So if living a long, long time is a horror to us, dying to avoid it is less scary. And it's only since I've been studying how these sciences are moving so quickly that that's really occurred to me. That's the purpose, the underlying psychology, and the necessity, socially, culturally, for those tales. Is they're not meant to scare us away from monsters. They're meant to help us cozy up to the fact that death is inevitable. And while I, no matter what science brings, still think that is the case, I don't think true immortality is possible. I think you could live for thousands, tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands of years. If we make that happen, rad. But I also think at some point, you're gonna be out there living your super, super duper long life, and you're still gonna get hit by a bus because other shit happens, you know? We can have wonderful, healthy bodies for a long time, but that doesn't stop everything else. So I do think death is still an inevitability. I just think it's one that we can meet under less heartbreaking and inevitable circumstances, where maybe you die in an instant in an accident rather than slowly in front of your family. Just because I talk about literature so much on this channel, I thought that maybe that would also be an interesting opinion, maybe hot take, I don't know. Do you think it's immoral to want to live forever? If so, why? I have very contradicting emotions about it that I'm trying to logic out. So I'd love your help and just love to know how you feel about it too. For instance, like there's so much ethical shit involved with this. Equity and access. Let's talk about that for a second. Even when the tech exists, public access lags. We know this. If things continue in any way, shape, or form that's familiar to how things have been in the past, what this is going to look like is the familiar pattern of early access for clinical trials and the wealthy, or broader access as IP, intellectual property, expires, manufacturing scales, and insurers see cost savings and fewer chronic diseases in general. So, you know, once everyone has an iPod, the iPod's less expensive kind of deal. Now, if you're about my age, anywhere close to it, I posed the question and studied the answer, tried to find an answer for, does AI's exponential curve, or at least what looks like it's going to be an exponential curve, mean that you at 30, me at 30, in 2025 can catch the ship? Like Moore's Law? Does this mean that I'm young enough and am just lucky enough to be born early enough, or late enough, that I will be around and still healthy to benefit from these longevity discoveries? And here's the sobering but optimistic conclusion I've kind of come to on it, for myself at least. Again, please do your own research on this shit. This is like SlumberMyth insomnia. This is an obsessive thing that I've had for the last few weeks, and this is just the baby I birthed out of all of that stimulation. If you are able to avoid catastrophic loss in your health, meaning you're able to avoid cardiometabolic disease, severe injury, getting hit by the bus, toxic exposures, you know, external factors or major internal ones, if you're able to stay eligible for each new rung, your odds of riding the first wave go way up. Longevity escapes velocity. Longevity escape velocity. LEV isn't a promise. It's a strategy. Live long enough and well enough, because no one wants to live forever if you feel like shit forever. No one wants to feel like shit forever. So it's the strategy to live long and well enough to benefit from the next delta. This staircase is built from, in action, what will admittedly look like pretty boring bricks. It's really all just about very regular, mundane habit building. So I'll tell you what to do now in order to, if you have a privileged body and are able to maintain a healthy lifestyle. Not everyone is capable of that, but if you are, I can tell you now what steps to take so that if this timeline is anything close to what I'm proposing here, you'll have the highest possible chance of getting to ride that first wave through to the next. And I mean, if we can ride this first wave of longevity science, we very well might live for hundreds and hundreds of years. And as a 30-year-old currently, I think I can make it. I think my husband and I can make it. And we've only increased our healthy habits recently. I've been sober for 6 years. And my life's only gone exponentially better since that happened. So, you know, no fucking judgment for anybody, but, you know, if you're thinking about it, highly recommended. I exercise at least 4 days a week, 150 minutes of cardio at least, weight training, healthy diet, lots of fruits and vegetables, no red meat, etc. Make sure your vaccines are on schedule. Stay vaccinated as much as possible. Lift heavy things with good form. Train your mitochondria with steady aerobic work. don't smoke. Go easy on the alcohol. I know the world is really fucked up and hard, but if you are drinking all the time, you are not going to make the first wave. I'll tell you that right now. Respect sunlight. It's like the ocean, beautiful and fun, but you spend too long in there and you're probably going to die. Mind your oral health. If you get an infection in a tooth, it can literally make you lose your mind and die. So if you're tempted by supplements or off-label inventions, make sure that your doctor is your co-pilot in your choice to take them. Always get a doctor's opinion. If you can't afford to get a doctor's opinion, find a doctor on the internet, on Instagram, on YouTube, and see if you can find your information there. Study medical journals, read them. You can find them. You can access them for free. You can read what PhD students write. You can read what PhD students read in order to get their PhDs. All that information's out there. You don't need the pretty piece of paper to know this stuff. You can just learn it. The unsexy backbone that keeps you alive long enough and healthy enough to benefit from the first wave is all the things you already know. All the things you know you're supposed to do in order to stay as healthy as possible. I'm sorry. It was always going to be diet and exercise, you guys. Like, what did you think was going to happen? But that's all you got to do to get to that first wave. So with all this, I am super inspired and recharged to be as healthy as possible. So after everything I've learned the last couple of weeks, I am ready to commit to being as healthy as fucking possible for the next 30 years, 50 years. I'm ready to be in the best possible shape, the best possible specimen for my age group at any given point until this shit hits the fan in a good way. And my greatest desire is, my parents are in their mid-60s. Actually, my dad is turning 64 this weekend. And from all the information I took in, the cap is an average of 66 for, like, you're probably going to be too old for it to be likely at all for you to benefit from the first wave. It's not going to be true for everyone if everything pans out well. It might be much later. Who knows? Who knows what we'll be capable of? There might be a lot of, like, rewinding for stuff, in which case you could be 90 and, you know, do some therapy for 6 months and be 30. Who knows? But my greatest hope is my crazy, stupid brain and all of my empathy and obsession and creativity and curiosity comes directly from my parents. And I love them so much, it hurts. And I want to see the universe with my dad. I want to travel the universe like in Star Trek or the Orville. If you guys haven't watched the Orville, you gotta fucking watch the Orville. It's so good. It's so wholesome. And the idea of not getting to do that with him almost makes it not feel worth it. So, I really hope it works out. I can't imagine enjoying the world as much as I do without them. No one gets it like they do. No one gets as happily overstimulated as me than they do. I guess my brother does, but we argue a lot because we can't help it because we come at each other with the same energy. But anyway, sorry. Yeah, my greatest hope is that once this happens, I'll be able to ride the first wave with my husband so we can travel the universe together forever, or close to it. I want to see I want to study xenozoology, xenobiology. I want to see the life of other planets and appreciate them and learn about them and figure out all the things that they're doing right that we're not. I want to see supernova, and I want to see the universe, and I need my dad to be there too. Preferably my brother, but I doubt we'd all travel together. But, you know, if we live for hundreds or thousands of years, then we can have a reunion at some point. I'm hoping that I can convince everyone I love, that I personally, because I'm a selfish, normal human, everyone that I think deserves to live a super long life that would benefit humanity and our world with their presence, like my parents and my brother, definitely my husband, and then also every pet I have for the rest of my super long life. I want all the purest loves that I have to live alongside me, or at least be alive at the same time as me for as long as possible. And the fact that the possibility of that isn't zero makes life a little less shitty when I think about it. And to be clear, my life is great. I mean, you know, the current state of everything is very stressful. And it's easy for me to be cynical because I like science, and when you follow science, there are very interesting and fun, positive things that we're discovering all the time. But, you know, it's really important to understand the bad things that are happening, so that it feels like there's a lot more of that. That's just how the media works too, though. Anyway, from what I've read, I think it's logical to say that assuming things go well, the timeline makes it so you could be a candidate for these therapies as they come out. If you're like me and you're not super fucking wealthy or from a very wealthy family or anything like that, not hyper privileged, you're just like a normal fucking person, do everything you can to keep yourself trial eligible. And then wait for the rich people to start paying for it. Because when they start buying it, that means it's fucking safe. Or mostly safe. Safe enough for rich people to spend money on it and risk their lives. So if rich people are buying it and not dying, and you are eligible for trials, volunteer for the trials. They will give you longevity for free in that case. And as I've illustrated, at least with the therapies that are already seeing some forms of success in mammalian vertebrates, like the likelihood of it harming you is minimal, especially with all of the help of AI that we're getting in running simulations first, which obviously are not always correct because reality is different, but it helps a lot. Tech will outrun the rules of human existence, and our job is to keep them humane. So, yeah. The unsexy backbone of everything is that you gotta keep yourself trial eligible. So as the things come out, you will be a candidate for those. And then moving on from that, just a whispered worry, I think you'll be allowed to have children. I think you should plan a life that assumes both wonder and delay. Build a body that's easy to maintain if you can. A community that keeps you tethered to a lifestyle that allows that. And patience that survives the news cycles. We do not have immortality. We certainly don't have the people that deserve it very much at this point. I think we could, though. I would love to see how empathy in general changes once people are going to live a long time. Like, if you know you're going to live 200 years, you might give a shit about the idea of climate change, you know? Like, if if you're an 80-year-old man who loves Trump and lives in a condo overlooking the ocean, but you get your age rewound to 25 biologically, and they tell you you're going to live for 300 years, and after only 10 years you see that suddenly the ocean is lapping against your home, maybe you're going to start to fucking care about climate change. Anyway, when everyone's problem becomes your problem, that's what longevity will do. So we'll all benefit from helping each other in the long term. And when we have to only think long term, things are gonna get a lot nicer. Or at least they fucking better. So we don't have immortality. We are and have already started to gain momentum towards it. And it's only going to continue. So momentum at 31 is a great place to stand. And I'm going to do everything in my power to make sure that momentum at 64 is also a good place to stand for my parents, so they can ride that wave with me. So I can rid them of their ailments and the things that make their life hard, and give them the universe. So in a world where advancements in science and technology are constantly pushing the boundaries of what we once thought was possible, the prospect of extending our lives and our health and longevity 10 to 15 years might not seem plausible, but inevitable at this point. I mean, even just actually looking at history 100 years ago, how long were people living compared to right now? What was the infant mortality rate at that point? What was, all kinds of shit. So, and being able to tack on a healthy 10 to 15 years, not 10 to 15 years of having cancer and holding on by a thread just to die miserable after years of suffering. I mean, adding 10 to 15 healthy years to your life will keep you around long enough for the next wave, which will make the quality of your life even better and longer. And it just gets better and better until it literally can't get better anymore. We're on the precipice of a future where the dream of living indefinitely may soon become a reality. The chances aren't zero. Can you even imagine a time or a world where we're all timeless, ageless beings, untouched by the ravages of stress and decay, time and disease? We can be the sexy vampires of lore with what was previously thought to be inhuman strength, except we won't need blood or fear the sunlight, because this is reality, not folklore. There's no underlying message to be learned here, where we soften the blow of death for ourselves by making the idea of life a horror. Not dying can and should be wonderful. And I think of it like, if I am able to ride the wave, if we're able to be successful in this, I owe the earth and everything on it my gratitude. And if I'm going to continue existing and using the resources of this finite place, I'm going to do everything in my power for as long and hard as I can to give life back into whatever I take. And if I were making the rules, I would want some element like that to be mandatory in eligibility for living forever. Like, you gotta put in 500,000 hours of volunteer work. And there's a quota like every 100 years or something. I don't know. That's what I would want. I would want people to be held accountable to their immortality. It doesn't feel fair to live forever and just keep taking like humans have so far. I don't feel like that's right. And I don't think there's anyone with a logical brain out there who disagrees with that. So, get ready for a fucking wild future. Like, darling, buckle the fuck up. Because the possibilities are truly endless, and immortality truly might be within reach. Or at least something that looks very close to it. Biological immortality is a real possibility. After all, who wouldn't want to be around for the ultimate party and celebration of eternal youth, the fire of youth? So here's to hope with a future where aging is simply a thing of the past, and the longevity of existence makes us all kinder to each other and everything else. Because the longer you live, the longer you realize you need everything else and everyone else. The longer you live, the more you experience, the more obvious it becomes that everything really is fucking connected. And not even in a spiritual way. It like feels spiritual to me, but logically, like, of course everything's fucking connected. It's called cause and effect. Of course everything happens for a reason. It's called cause and effect. And, you know, without like jumping into quantum shit. But my hope is that we figure our shit out, find some form of enlightenment that I, at this moment in time, can't even fathom. And all we'll have to worry about is what to wear to our 1000th birthday bash. If I offended anyone, I'm genuinely sorry. It is never my intention to upset anybody. Ever. My only wish is to make everyone's lives better. Everything that exists lives better. There are people that exist who just like straight up don't want that. And my opinions upset them sometimes. So, you know, I'm sorry if I do upset you. But, like, I'm right. So, you know, not my problem. That's a you problem. I know this was a little more chaotic than most of my other videos. I'm a writer, not a speaker. So I really prefer to get my thoughts down in writing. And then I will create the script for myself, and it's all my thoughts on a page, and then I will give it to you in a clean way. This was obviously much more organic. My voice wasn't as polished, and neither was my behavior. Thank you for the rant. I'm sorry. I love you, my little sleepwalkers. As always, thank you so much for watching, and happy nightmares.